Let's look at one of the checkpoint problems in section 8. I'll read this and then I'll go through the steps that I recommend you follow in solving these problems. Okay, this according to the U.S. Department of Education, 2007 data, there's a gap between teaching salaries for men and women at private and universities. The average salary for men exceeds the average salary for women by $14,037. And salaries are $130,015. Determine the average salaries at for women and for men. Okay. It's a good idea to go through and just kind of summarize what you're looking for, put it into your own words. You know, we can see here they're talking about men's and women's salaries at private colleges, and there's a difference between their salaries. In fact, it looks like men make, on average, 14,000, a little over 14,000 more than women. And we also know if we combine those average salaries, we get about 130,000. So somehow we want to take that information and find what their average salaries actually are. So I'm going to write down, what I'm looking for. Fine. I'll do some abbreviations. Average salaries for men and women. So at the end, I'll go back and make sure I answered that question. Okay, the other thing I want to do is I want to represent one of the quantities with a variable, and I'll start by, I'll just go ahead and use the variable x, and you can see we're trying to find, usually your variable represent one of the things you're trying to find. It's either men's or women's salaries. You could choose either one. It'll work just fine. Looks like men's salaries are more, so maybe I want to express men's salaries in terms of women. So I think I'll let x equal average salary for women. Okay, and that's what's described in the first step of the book. Second step, we want expressions to represent any other quantities in the problem that we're trying to find. We want to find the women's salaries, but we also want to find the men. And the men make 14,000, that exceed women by 14,037. So that's relatively easy to write as an expression. Exceeds is the idea of more or addition. So if we take women's salaries and we add 14,037, then we're going to get the average salary for men. Okay, so now I've represented both things that I want to in the problem. And the third step now is to set up an equation. We know that one exceeds the other, but we have some more information here. So let's combine their salaries at 103,015. So combine means you put together or add. So if we add their salaries, we should get 103,015, or their average salaries, I should say. So let's take what I'm using to represent those salaries, x, and x plus 14,037. I'm going to combine them, put them together, and that should be equal to 130,015. So there's my equation. I guess now I can just forget about the problem for a little while, solve the equation. That's the next step as listed in the book. So I will solve this. Put the x's together, we get 2x plus 14,037. That's equal to 130,015. If I subtract 14,037 from both sides, I've done this over here, you're going to get 115,978. And if you divide by 2, you get that x is 57,989. And unfortunately, too often I find that students stop right there, boom, they go on to the next problem. But you should check and make sure you've answered the question that's being asked. Here it says find average salaries for men and women. Now this would be the average salary for women, but I need to find the average salary for men as well, and I get that by adding 14,037. So I'm going to add 14,037 to that, and if you do that, you get 72,026. Okay, so now I have the women's and men's. Let's write that out. Average salary for women is, here I'll put dollars in. I found the numbers, but it's dollars, $57,989. And the average salary for men, I found that right below there, is $72,026. Okay, so now I have answered the question, what's being asked for. This should be it, but it's also a good idea to go back and check, and I highly recommend you do that, especially in test situations. And so let's see if it makes sense. First of all, it says the average salary for men exceeds the average salary for women by 14,037. So if it exceeds, the difference should be 14,037. So you might take 72,026 and subtract 57,989. If you do that subtraction, you do actually get 14,037. So that part checks out. And then combine their salaries are 103,015. So combine with the add. So if I add these salaries, in fact, if you add that, you do get 130,015. So it does check out.